everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Observer Podcast. It's Ariana Allen, and I am joined with Noel and Carlos Parra, the Director of Student Affairs at Broward College. And Carlos, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So today's topic is esports. It's a huge and upcoming industry. So Carlos, tell us a little bit about how esports is going to be incorporated at Broward College.
So about a year ago, the college decided that it wanted to basically dip its toes in esports. For those of you who don't know what esports is, and a lot of folks don't, what I'm finding, there's a lot of misconceptions. But at the end of the day, it is competitive video game play. And there's basically a handful of titles that are widely played across platforms, across what you see on ESPN, or also what colleges play. So last year, it was about student life, offering opportunities for Broward College students to participate in both campus-wide tournaments, where each campus would have a winner of, let's say, Super Smash Bros. And then they would play, like the North winner would play the South winner, and for there to be an overall college-wide Super Smash champion. So we did that, and response was good, and that was one of the goals for last year. But this year, of course, now we're in the age of COVID and we're remote. So while we were kind of doing esports light, the college saw this as an opportunity to, all right, why don't we go ahead and have a little bit more of a centralized focus and actually put time, effort, and resources towards seeing what esports could look like for Broward College. And the one thing I would say for us is that what's making this very doable to put on for our students is the fact that we are playing console-based. So when I say console, I'm talking about Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo Switch. Universities tend to play more PC-based. A standard gaming PC could be anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000. You get 10, 15, 20 of those computers, you're looking at one hell of a budget just on technology, where your average console is anywhere between $300 to $500. So that just made it easy for us to do esports, but also the other colleges in our system, which is the Florida college system, which is made up of 28 community/state colleges, they're also console-based as well. So really, as recent as Monday or this week, last Friday, the IT folks here at the college have been working tremendously to basically put in all of the access and switches and ports needed to be able to host the tournaments here at Bailey Hall. Everything's hardwired, so when we host tournaments, we'll be here in our game center, but students will be able to access from wherever they're at, their home, friend's house, wherever. As long as they're a currently enrolled student, they can jump in on the tournaments we're hosting and participate. So the other caveat to our program is there's the competitive side that we will compete against other colleges, and then there's the blowing it up just for Broward College students to be able to compete in tournaments. So we will have our first tournament against other colleges is actually next Friday, the 18th. And we have about 10 or 12 other schools who have entered our tournament to play. It's the Super Smash Brother or Seahawk Invitational Smash Tournament. And then after that, we start hosting our BC internal tournaments. Again, Smash Brother, Madden, Rocket League. We're looking at some other titles, but we are learning and putting on these events very quickly. So we've already advertised for these events and have schools in. And again, we only just got the technology working on Friday. But again, it's just because there's so many moving parts to actually starting an esports. But it's something as simple as waiting for the TVs to arrive to plug in your consoles. The other thing is, nationally, there was a shortage on Nintendo Switches. So anytime Best Buy had one, boom, we would gank it right then and there, so that we have 4 now, which is perfect for us. But we had to actively be monitoring just stock, because again, now that people are home, consoles are harder to come by these days.
So, Carlos, let me ask you. So, what is like the tryout process like? How can one join the esports team?
So it's a great question. And actually, we're sending out an email ideally today, since the first tournament is Super Smash Brothers. Well, let me take a step back. We did send out a recruitment email to all students, and we had over 250 students respond that, hey, we want in. So this semester, we're trying to make sure we walk before we run. And so this semester, we're going really heavy on Nintendo. And I say that because we will have Madden, which can be played on PS4 and Xbox. But for this semester, well, both the PlayStation console and Xbox platforms are refreshing their systems. They typically do this once every 7 years. So I didn't want to invest heavily dollars on those consoles when come November, December, they're basically the new PlayStation 5 is coming out, and then the new Xbox One X, I forget what it's called, but the new X series, I think it's called. Yeah. So I didn't want to spend too much money on those platforms. I mean, we do have a PlayStation, but I give you like 4 Switches. But anyway, back to the question. So Miguel Palacios, he works at North Campus Student Life, and he runs kind of like a college-wide Twitch channel that students can, even right now, he does like gaming multiple days a week, and students log in and they play. So we are going to let those students know that, hey, if you want to try out to compete in next Friday's Smash tournament, you need to log into one of Miguel's open play forums that he hosts, and he will track. He's already been monitoring a few Super Smash Bros. Players who he thinks would be really good. I don't think for our very first tournament, we are not following 100% official rules. We're following the actual game rules, but competitively, most schools, when they have like a team, it's usually like 5 players will be like on a Madden team, on a Smash team, whatever. We're allowing up to 10 schools, but I think we're actually gonna be able to do more because also the demand. I think realistically, I think altogether 14 other colleges said, hey, we want in. And we said that each school could have up to 15 players. Hopefully this goes really well. We're gonna find out next Friday. But to qualify to compete on the Broward team, you'll have to participate in Miguel's qualifying Smash tournaments. And those details are going to be sent out to students. The 250 students who responded, they'll get those details today or tomorrow.
So I know this next question sounds kind of silly, but it's really relative to the gaming process. Will there be any practices for esports, or how does that typically work? Do they just come together at the time of performance?
Well, and that's really what Miguel's tryouts are like. So ideally, again, right now here in Bailey Hall, I'm wired for 4 stations. And again, we have like 3 TVs out here in the lobby. I have one here in my office that I could just put out there. So in theory, we could hold practices, here at Bailey Hall in the spring semester. We are not doing anything with students on campus until spring, also because the college has said no student events on campus for the fall semester. I mean, so ideally though, come spring, when we do have, our students identified for the different games we'll compete in, depending on where I'm housed, will really depend on where students will have a chance to come and play. I was in Building 10 before. I was temporarily booted out of there because there's renovations taking place. I don't know if I'm going back to Building 10 because it needs a lot of work, and the renovation process, it takes months. But if I do get moved back to Building 10 in the old athletic suite, there will be space potentially to have, in the old athletics suite, I propose that space become one of either 2 things, either my veterans lounge or esports hub. So if it does become esports, basically practices would be held in there. There is another space that I'm looking at, the old baseball locker room here at Central Campus. It's not as large, but we could fit all of our tech in there. So we could in theory have practices. It really just depends on where my office is a year from now. I am temporarily in the old box office of Bailey Hall, and I don't think I'm going to be left here forever. Um, so we'll see. But ideally, we would have some just amazing space for students to come to and practice at. And it's also where we would host our tournaments from.
And so, one more thing. So those 250 students that replied, was that like an outcome you guys were expecting? And also like the 14 schools that you said wanted to participate as well. Like, were you guys ready for that amount of people to reply?
The answer, no. But you know, it wouldn't be the first time I've had a program where the response it's tremendous. I did think it was going to be around there, so we weren't totally caught off guard. I thought it would be around 200, so 250. I think now it might be around 270 because it does update every day. But you know, it's a good problem to have. You know, it also shows that students are looking for ways to engage while they're at home with the college. And you know what, if the college is able to provide something that, you know, piques their interest, then by all means, it's a victory. As far as the 12 schools, I'm not entirely surprised because, you know, student life departments, they are in the business of student engagement. And, you know, in our world, everything is about deliverables, data, and if you can't do your traditional on-campus events, you need to get creative. There are only so many options for engaging students. You can only do so many Zoom webinars on how to create a resume or, you know, how to prepare for a job. You know, that's why, I mean, gaming, my God, it crosses every platform, it crosses every walk of life, every gender, nationality. I mean, gaming's universal. So that's one of the things that it's cool about this because we're also, you know, a Nintendo Switch, while it's not cheap, it's also not super, you know, expensive for, you know, to play. The likelihood of a student having a console at home is far greater than a student having, you know, a $2,000-$3,000 gaming PC at home. So it also just provides more access for students to be able to participate. But yeah, we were definitely not prepared. But I mean, those are good problems to have because again, you just really start to test your own capacity, and it's a learning process. And the college, you know, there are just behind the scenes talks of, you know, great, you know, Carlos is doing, you know, esports light here, but what could the college do potentially to, you know, go all in on esports and make it a revenue generating program? So again, before we run, we're using this semester to walk. You know, something as simple as the technology. You know, I've had it's called the gaming VLAN ports in my office for about a month now, but really we only discovered when we started plugging everything in, they weren't working. And just the amount of folks we've had to work with, just not just for the consoles to be able to access the internet, which when the consoles all started updating, like, yay, great, they're all working on the internet. That was only, yes, that was part of it. But then when we actually started to go into the tournaments, basically going into those game platform servers, we couldn't get in because Broward College, something internally was blocking it. So it took a lot of people behind the scenes to make it possible for us to be able to have, you know, even a Super Smash Brothers tournament, just because of network security, also making sure that no opportunities presented themselves for people to like hack into our network. But yeah, all fun stuff to learn, you know, on the fly.
Yeah, that's so exciting. And, you know, I think we're seeing right now there's so many different puzzle pieces to this mastermind puzzle. But we're thankful for Broward College for creating that community to be able to come together through esports and through gaming. I think there's several other avenues that we come together, but it's also cool to have a different avenue to come together and one that's unique.
Yeah, and I'm excited because one, I do enjoy gaming, but two, I'm really loving my time working with Miguel and Diana, and the three of us are just kind of like kids at heart. So, you know, we're having a ball, and honestly, knowing that the students are interested, it's even making it, you know, more worth it. But yeah, I mean, of course, we're doing it for the students. Is what I'm trying to say.
That's super exciting. So guys, if you are interested in esports, whatsoever. It doesn't matter if you haven't played before. You can always learn. It's never too late. Make sure you reach out to the student life department and they will make sure that you get connected. Remember to stay updated. Follow us on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, and have a great day. Stay safe, everyone, and we'll see you guys all on the next podcast episode.